The story of leadership is often told through milestones, but true impact is felt in the quiet transformation of lives, institutions, and dreams. At the National Open University of Nigeria, the past 5 years have been marked by a remarkable journey. A journey steered by a visionary leader whose tenure has redefined the boundaries of open and distance learning in Nigeria, Professor Olufemi Peters. The university, under Professor Peters, welcomed and installed the Oba of Benin, Ewari II, as the NOUN Chancellor, while His Excellency Malam Isa Yuguda, CON, was named as the Pro-Chancellor by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the visitor. But as the curtain draws on his tenure, we embark on a journey of reflection, celebrating not just the end of an era, but the indelible legacy of a man whose leadership transformed the open and distance learning mode of learning not only at the university but in Nigeria at large. On the 21st of February 2021, the reins of leadership of the National Open University of Nigeria changed hands, and Professor Olufemi Peters assumed duty as the Vice-Chancellor, taking over from his predecessor, Professor Abdallah Uba Adamu. Right from his first day in office, Professor Peters left no one in doubt of his desire to bring change and take the university to even greater heights.
Usually, when you want to have an office like this, there are so many ideas that come to your head. Some you'll be able to fulfill, some you will not. But I think generally, I think I can say that I've been extremely lucky. I want to thank God that those things that I had set out to do, and I've been able to do them majorly.
Within the 5 years of his tenure as Vice-Chancellor, Professor Peters has led the National Open University of Nigeria with passion and commitment. Under him, the university prioritized academic excellence, staff welfare, and linkages. His stewardship witnessed an unprecedented growth in student enrollment, affirming the university's place as Africa's largest open and distance learning institution. But beyond the numbers, there was a renewed focus on academic integrity and innovation, as attested by all and sundry.
Some 10 years ago, it would have been difficult to get people from the University of Ibadan to attend the NOUN program. But now, there is nobody who receives an invitation from the NOUN that will not gladly honor it. So overnight, within this period of 4 years, the trajectory has changed.
I'm very proud of what Professor Peters has done over the years, not only here in Nigeria, and some of you may know her from Nigeria, but I know her international stature, especially in the continent, when we worked together to establish the African Council for Distance Education.
There has been a lot of tremendous progress made at National Open University in terms of even acceptability of open distance learning. And again, I've seen him as somebody that likes to support a lot of younger people to move up.
A new faculty of computing was created, new programs introduced, existing faculties were strengthened, and partnerships were forged locally and internationally, with the sole aim of ensuring that students received not just a certificate, but a transformational education.
Our university is in the forefront of technology delivery. And around 2023, the NUC, National Universities Commission, was trying to emphasize the growing relevance and importance of IT in our educational system. So they suggested that we could remove computer science out of Faculty of Science into a faculty on its own. Many universities are still foot dragging. But because this is National Open University of Nigeria, heavily dependent on the computing, we decided that to take the bull by the horn and establish a faculty.
Under the leadership of Professor Olufemi Peters, the university had the opportunity of creating its third Deputy Vice-Chancellor on Technology, Innovation and Research. The office was created to set the university on the map of emerging trends in innovation and research. Today, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor on Technology, Innovation and Research coordinates the software development unit of the university, and they have recorded notable milestones and made wonderful discoveries.
When I became Vice-Chancellor, one of the things I've noticed while being DVC was that gradually the university was becoming very dependent on technology, usage, production. And I looked at the positions of the Deputy Vice Chancellors. I realized that the VC could not in any palpable way be able to offer service if he doesn't have a staff dedicated for that. So it was obvious to me that aside from the very first few acts that I will do as Vice Chancellor was to create an office that would be totally concentrated on technology.
During his tenure, we also saw the need to create a software development unit. Instead of paying people to buy a license for their software, why can't we develop our own?
We, in most cases, as the need arises from the other various departments and directorates, once there is a need for digitization, we are informed. We take it upon ourselves, take out analysis, design the system, and then implement. If you are within the academic sector, like the DEA, for example, examination result computation and presentation system, we call it ERP, fully digitized and managed by this unit.
Under Professor Peters' watch, NOUN FM station at the headquarters in Abuja is about to kick off with the purchase of the radio equipment as well as securing the license, paving the way for the total overhaul of the transmission and recording studios. Peters had already invested in the upgrade of the NOUN FM radio station based in Lagos.
There is a university called the Open University UK. One of their major output was radio broadcast and television broadcast. Indeed, as a student in England, on a Saturday morning from 7 till 11, you listen to TV broadcast from the Open University UK. So it has always been a means of getting to your students far and wide. And that was the idea of this university, trying to get a radio license and be able to have an impression through the TV broadcast. Unfortunately, we've not been able to do that of the TV broadcast. The idea is that you will have a timetable for certain courses to be aired, and you will tell your students to tune in to hear such broadcasts, which is basically a lecture. We were able to do that initially in Lagos, but we've not been able to do that once we moved in here. And that's the reason why we've acquired a license for Abuja. And I'm extremely grateful to the Directorate of Media and Publicity, who struggled to get that for Abuja, and who is also in the move to get the one for Kano and then for Port Harcourt.
Equally, during the period under review, research took on a new prominence. Faculties were encouraged to pursue impactful research projects addressing national challenges, from public health to technology, environmental sustainability to social policy. By supporting research centers as well as floating a multi-million naira research grant, Professor Olufemi Peters effectively created an environment where innovation thrived and where solutions to Nigeria's most pressing problems could be developed.
The first meeting he had with the Senate, he made a pronouncement that he is going to be releasing funds as the Senate fiscal grant for the university, which he has been doing since the beginning of his tenure up to this present moment. Initially, he first of all released about 100 million and then later increased it to 150 million every year.
Within the last 12 months, our staff, led by a multidisciplinary field, have been able to patent 2 research efforts. And we are currently doing the pilot production.
One of the earliest mark of Peters' administration was the transformation of the National Open University of Nigeria Information Communication Center, NICC, formerly known as VICC. It was rebranded, expanded, and renamed by the VC, and the vision and scope of the center was therefore extended.
Before, it was called Visitors Information Call Center. Visitors means you have to go there. Are you getting it now? But now, if we are going to use technology, it means you have to remove the word visitors and just put National Open University Information Now Call Center. Call center meaning that we have introduced technology and you don't need to come to go to a study center because we now have to use technology. Developed a call system software with 24 workstations, marked 24 hours of the day.
It has been a game changer in transforming the university's public image, with NICC interfacing with students, bridging the gap between the university and our students, addressing their issues promptly. This has actually curbed insistent harassment of the university by bad press releases. Our data shows that the NICC handles approximately 14,450 tickets monthly during regular periods, averaging about 483 interactions per day. And during peak periods, this rises significantly to about 27,614 tickets monthly, with a daily average of about 920 interactions. Of course, addressing all these tickets effectively.
Alongside academic reforms, Peters worked hand in hand with the National Universities Commission, NUC, under its Executive Secretary, Professor Abdullahi Yusufu Ribadu, such that NOUN's academic programs secured the Commission's Clean Bill of Health during each round of accreditation exercise. Evidently, a robust infrastructural revolution took place across the nooks and crannies of the university and its study centers nationwide. Study centers across the nation were revitalized, creating safe and conducive environments for learning and community engagement. And with the successful provision of a conducive atmosphere for learning, the staff welfare was improved by the Peters' administration to ensure effective, sound, and harmonious service delivery. It is on record that technological innovations were integrated to modernize teaching and learning. Virtual classrooms, e-library resource, and automated student support services became integral part of the university experience, bringing NOUN closer to its goal of a truly digital university. Professor Peters' strategic touch is unmistakable in the iconic Senate and Council chambers he built from scratch, which boast of architectural masterpieces as well as stunning designs that have significantly enhanced the university's physical landscape.
We had no Senate building when we came here. And for any vice chancellor, the Senate chamber is his, we call it Halo chamber, but that is where tough, impartial decisions are taken. But we had no structure for it. All universities do strive to have a Senate chamber attached to the Senate building. In fact, that's the reason why the building, the administrative building, is called Senate building. And so, just by a stroke of luck, I was passing through our arena to this place, and I saw that I looked at the structure, the architecture of our admin building, Vincent Adotenebe building, and I saw that we could make a Senate building out of this. And so I called in an architect, a very brilliant architect, who was able to share my concept and give us a beautiful design. And luckily, TED Fund was around to support us.
Through the Directorate of Learning Management System, students can interact both online and offline with their lecturers, attend lectures, as well as take their continuous assessment test. In the university's main library, located at the headquarters in Abuja, and across those at all the study centers in the country, modern facilities were installed, paving the way of access to the most modern, globally renowned books by the students. In other words, students now have at their fingertips the latest e-library materials.
Under his administration, the library achieved several milestones. I'll begin to list them. The first is the establishment of new study center libraries. Over 10 of them were established. To mention a few, we have the Ilorin, Minna, Port Harcourt, Makurdi, just to mention a few. And then the library was able to upgrade over 17 other study center libraries. So we had all these faculty libraries upgraded. We had Kaduna Library, Oka Library, Abeokuta, Akure, Bauchi, Benin, Ibadan, to just mention a very few.
The once packed faculties have systematically gained their due attention, as through Peters' visionary leadership style, most of the faculties now enjoy their independence, occupying their dedicated buildings in blocks. For that to happen, the Vice-Chancellor conceived and constructed faculty buildings and administrative office blocks to support academic excellence and administrative efficiency. One of such is the Faculty of Management Science building, while completing works and fully furnished the School of Postgraduate Studies to enhance postgraduate education and research. Professor Olufemi Peters has chaired over 20 inaugural lectures and oversaw the maiden inaugural lecture presentation delivered by Professor Helen Kwanashi in May 2025. Peters' stint also witnessed the coming up of about 15 more specialized and community study centers across the country. Some of them were the Ikorodu, Badagry, Surulere, Washe, Mani, among others.
He has actually done very well. Like at the moment, virtually all our study centers are linked to fiber optics, and so students can have seamless interaction with our digital resources. He has renovated a number of our study centers, making them standard. In fact, there was an accreditation visit by the National Universities Commission to our study centers, 25 of them, and they all came out with a clean bill.
It's tenure associated in building laboratories in the geopolitical zones. Before, we were casting aspersion on the NOUN. How can they put, they're online, how can they do chemistry related, biology, and all those, sciences? But the student will come, we have our own, timetable to follow, and we have been doing it.
In view of its strategic technological importance, the Directorate of Learning Content Management System was also relocated from its erstwhile dormitory to a comprehensive block housing all the needed and necessary equipment, with the sole goal of improving the university's online learning capabilities that remains unmatched in the country's education system. The outgoing Vice-Chancellor also built upon the legacy of his predecessor on the development of the African Center of Excellence on Technology-Enhanced Learning, ASTEL, by performing the groundbreaking of the center's smart building, a state-of-the-art facility for the center at the headquarters in the university. Since its inception, ASTEL has been running master's and PhD programs in artificial intelligence, management information system, as well as cybersecurity. It is gratifying that ASTEL has been able to graduate more than 20 master's and PhD students within its short lifespan.
The Vice Chancellor also supported ASTEL in terms of research. A lot of research activities are expected of the center. The Vice Chancellor provided some research funds through the center, specifically to address innovative issues relating to challenges within the ODL learning space.
The state-of-the-art conference center, which has repeatedly been termed in a league of its own among the tertiary institutions in this country, and which has continued to witness influx of not just education-related conferences, but other local and international fora, was completed, furnished, and modernized by the administration of Professor Peters. Under Professor Peters, the National Open University of Nigeria has become the home of Nigeria's International Media and Information Literacy Institute, a United Nations project aimed at improving media literacy as a way of ameliorating the dangers posed by the increasing phenomenon of hate speech, fake news, deep fake, among others. Internet services is one of the key ingredients needed for the smooth operation of any open university in the world, and Professor Peters has never hesitated in this effort of providing internet services across all the study centers. Through him, with the support of TED Fund, under its executive secretary, architect Sonny Echono, connected the whole of the headquarters as well as 27 selected study centers with fiber optics.
Before now, staff all over the study centers, even at HQ, were using their hotspots from their hard-earned salaries to years to carry out their activities. But as soon as the Vice Chancellor came, he was able to secure a TED Fund-sponsored project that in the first phase has connected about 28 locations. That's 27 locations, including headquarters 28. So with that now, we have internet available at the speed of light to both the staff and the students and even the visitors.
The issue of internet, we were depending on modem because of the number of staff we have here and the activities they do. We have about 9 different modems that we normally recharge for them. But now we have the cyber optics that have been provided in the center. It's functioning, and we use it 24 hours, no breakage, nothing.
The convocation arena of the university plays host to thousands of students yearly as the university graduates as students. With this onerous function in mind, the Vice-Chancellor undertook its complete overhaul such that it now wears the look of those only seen in foreign counterpart universities. Peters also initiated and completed a structure that now houses Student Support Center and Security House so as to improve the security situation on campus. Another notable milestone of Peters' administration is the significant increase in students' enrollment, which was one of the cardinal principles throughout his tenure.
In totality, what he has done has brought an increase to the number of students that we have, the student population. When I came in here, the student population was about 8,000 plus. Now we have about 15,000.
It is instructive to mention here that the outgoing Vice-Chancellor has worked with 3 ministers of education, assuming office under the then Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, before being replaced by Professor Tahir Maman. As the Vice-Chancellor prepares to exit office, he is presently working with the current Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alausa. Perhaps one will argue that the most significant impact of Peters' stewardship was a human touch leadership style that prioritized inclusivity, encouraged dialogue, and inspired both staff and students to believe in the university's vision.
The VC himself takes part in the delivery of what he expects of his colleagues in the university. So far we have done well. New programs have also come up, and I believe that among the Committee of Universities, this university no longer is seen as one of those universities that were not meant to exist, as it were. So it has brought some dignity to the system.
He has built on what he made on the ground. He has built on the foundations laid by his predecessors. And I think he has done very well. One thing I also want to mention is that he has carried his predecessors along. In any major event, whether it is convocation or commissioning, inauguration of the Senate chambers, he has invited them, and all of them have been honoring his invitation.
When senior registry staff are leaving the system, after spending their years and attaining the age of retirement, we just decided that they should come and share the experience with us, how they are able to navigate the years, their departments, share experience with younger folks so that they're able to learn from their experience. So we're not talking in terms of money, but in terms of giving us the moral support in achieving this mandate. And I know the last one or two, or those of the senior officers that are retired, the Vice Chancellor, out of his tight schedule, attended this. And it shows his commitment that not only do we appreciate you when you are with us, we also appreciate you, we also honor you when you are leaving the system.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Olufemi Peters, has been of great assistance to the bursary department. In fact, I can say it's a father to the department. He has guided, although he's not an accountant, but he has good ideas on respect of accounting of the university affairs. In fact, he insists on us to, initially we don't operate or we don't respect much budget for department, but he insists that we have to do budget for each department, each center, and each unit. And you cannot spend more than what is approved for you for that particular year.
He's a man with tremendous experience. And his exposure is, like I said before, you cannot appreciate the level of his exposure until you get close to him.
On the international and continental scene, Professor Olufemi Peters has left indelible marks and has represented the National Open University of Nigeria in diverse ways. He is the first Vice President of the African Council on Distance Education, and he facilitated the hosting of the ACDE's Quality Assurance and Accreditation Agency in the National Open University of Nigeria. It was through these efforts that the Quality Assurance Directorate and the African Center of Excellence on Technology Enhanced Learning, ASTEL, got their international accreditation. During his tenure, Professor Olufemi Peters successfully hosted the Moodle 2025 African Conference, an event which brought together the Moodle communities in Africa to share practices, knowledge, and competencies on how to improve the quality of e-learning education. Through his numerous contributions to open and distance learning, Professor Olufemi Peters was recognized and presented with an Excellence Award by the International Council for Open and Distance Education in 2025 in Faroe, Switzerland.
The second winner of the Individual Prize of Excellence 2025 is Professor Olufemi Peters from the National Open University of Nigeria.
The Council of the University, under the leadership of His Excellency Malam Isa Yuguda, CON, has also nominated Professor Olufemi Peters for a national award for his exemplary service to the university. As Professor Olufemi Peters' tenure comes to an end, it is certain that the legacies and impact of his tenure will continue to stand tall and remain indelible in the history of the foremost open and distance learning university in the West African sub-region. He will be remembered as one of those who made open distance learning attractive, accessible, and believable by Nigerians and beyond. It therefore goes without saying that his legacy will continue to inspire and shape the university's future.